everybody. This is Pat Windrow once again at the Cable Easel, live this time rather than taped. And this is the evening that I take phone calls if you have anything you want to talk to me about. And so I'm going to proceed. Of course, we are in the general vicinity of Halloween and the fall and all the beautiful colors out there. So once again, I'm going to do a study, but this is going to have a sort of a surprise ending. It also has a surprise beginning, because I have been very snooty and very snobbish about painting on velvet. To me, it's a detestable way of painting. It produces really bad stuff. But people say, I like it, why can't I like it? And so I thought that I would try to see whether or not I can do something more with it than the Elvis and the clown and the tiger. Which is the usual subject matter for the velvet paintings that you see around. So here's a piece of black velvet. It's always on black velvet. And the gypsy lady is there with the crystal ball and all that stuff. And here's what I'm going to do with it. If it works, then I won't be so snobbish about it anymore. If it doesn't work, I will have proved my point, that painting on velvet is the pits. Anyway, tonight is the pits, and if you want to call me and talk about it, that's just fine. But I'm going to show you that I'm going to use the same kind of approach. I'm going to use what is called the everything pencil. It writes on everything. It writes on wood, and it writes on gaffer's tape, and it writes on velvet. It writes everywhere, and so the all-around everything pencil is white. And I'm going to lay this composition out on this velvet. You can see it is extremely dark and without shadow of any kind. You can see my hand and the pencil against it, but that's about it. So, and there are no mistakes. You cannot paint over here. If you make a mistake, you have used up $7.50 worth of velvet, and you just throw it out and start all over again. So I'm going to lay this out. Hopefully you'll be able to see that I'm drawing right on this piece of velvet my layout. If it shows later, well then that's the way it's got to be. But here is a somewhat simple composition. It's the technique which is going to be more complex, and it remains to be seen whether or not it's appealing. My son Adam has always said, why don't you do something and show the people how you should do painting on velvet? And so I kind of have taken his suggestion, and he's going to probably die laughing when he hears that I've done this. But here is, I hope you can see this. I assume that that it's being transmitted, because anything at all that you do on the TV screen is visible. I'm hoping that this is. This is the pumpkin, which is a miniature pumpkin, very sweet. Bought it in Setauket, so this is local origination produce. And of course all the lines that go down into this thing. And then leaning up against it is another one of these silly fall items called a gourd, but this one looks like a cross between a fat mandolin and a misshaped football. But anyway, it gave a nice sort of a white feeling to it. And here I'm going to put the leaf. I'm going to probably put that pink leaf in the back. But here is this leaf here with its lovely points. This is a maple leaf that has turned from green to yellow to mottled brown, and it's what's happening at this time of year, which I find absolutely wonderful. And I'm out painting the leaves, and behind me is a painting of the Skyline Drive and the Blue Ridge Mountain where I've been living. And as you can see, I thought I would bring in this painting for you to see what I've been up to when I'm not here. The colors this year, from what I heard in a report, that they are more intense this year than they have been in 10 years. So if nobody got out to see them, too bad, you missed it. And if you did get out to see them, I think that you'll have to admit that they were absolutely remarkable this year. So, as I proceed to lay this out, and I do hope that you can see this, the little red leaf is kind of going to get lost in the thing. And up here is where the surprise is going to take place a little bit later in the program. I'm not going to let you in on it now, but I'm going to surprise you with it later. Just because every once in a while you have to do something that's really showbiz. The competition out there is killing. I'm working in acrylics. Da-da. People say, why don't you use acrylics? And I always get very snobbish about that too. But I've got acrylics, and I have the three primary colors. I've got red and yellow and blue and white. I do not obviously need anything like black or anything dark. So I'm going to be mixing acrylics. on a paper plate with a little bit stiffer brush than I usually use for the oils, because the acrylics need to get put onto this velvet with a certain amount of energy and strength. So here it goes. I don't do this very often, and I'm hoping that it is going to be of interest. You can see that the technique is very different, and that you kind of take your chances when you do this. But I'm a brave soul, and I find that I'm probably willing to do anything if it's a challenge. The application of paint is very different than what it is in oils. It's almost like an immediate response. The acrylics stick to the pile of the velvet, and you can get a very sharp highlight with almost no effort. I'm working from life. I'm noticing that the side of the pumpkin here has got a very bright side. It's being lit by the bright studio lights, and there is a resistance to the paint from the velvet, but you get almost what you might call an instantaneous blending. The reason that some of the paintings that you see on velvet are less than appealing is because it is an obvious trick. And I do not know the history of painting on velvet. I have no idea where it began or why, but I just know that it has been used a great deal in what I call carnival art. You can find it in all kinds of environments. And the people like it because it is extremely dramatic. You can see what I'm doing here is very stark. You get the very black blacks, and then you get the pale colors. Also, as I said before, there are no mistakes. If I had run the color around this edge of the pumpkin, I would have not. I have to leave the space for the application of paint for the other object. So it's a different attitude. It's also a different approach to painting, but it certainly is a technique which has interested people for a very long time. Don't forget, if you want to call me and we can talk, it's 348-6800, and I'm here once a month, so this is the time. There is no other time that you can talk to me until, except tonight and next month, the last Tuesday of November, and then I won't be back until January because I do not travel at Christmas time. So, as I've been talking, I have done this demonstration of how you use the color on this velvet surface. I'm also going to probably show you the mixing of the colors. It's different. This is a paper plate, and this is a bristle brush, which is made by, it's made in China. It's made of bristles. It's not a synthetic bristle. And acrylic paint tends to be rather thick, but it has to be in order to be able to pile up the pigment on this velvet in order to get this brilliant highlight. I think with the close-up, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. That the highlight has to be as thick as you can get it in order for it to show. Then I've got my blue here, which is the other primary color, and which mixed with yellow becomes the green that you may want. If you want to subdue the green, you put a little bit of orange or red into it. Now I'm going to do the stem now by hopefully just one stroke. I'm going to run around this way. The stem is quite pale, and it's one of those wonderful things that happens when you pick these things in the field and they retain some of their vine and stem. I went out specifically to find this one today to see if I could find one with a stem, and they were almost all gone, but this one did happen to have one. I'm not exactly following my drawing, but that's me. Then the highlight shows, and the paint has to go on thicker. I shall come back to this to apply the paint a little bit thicker in a minute if I can't do it now. As you can see, it sort of resists it, but the overall look tends to be rather intriguing. The stem is going to now intersect the pumpkin, and then it's going to go back out again and wind up with a sort of a nice sharp turn here. There is almost no way that I'm going to put a shadow of this vine here because I do not have any black. I might be able to make something dark enough to be able to do that by mixing the blue and the red. But working with these primary colors is very interesting. It means that you, you have a whole new way of thinking. I'm going to attempt to put the shadow of this on this pumpkin and see if it works. Well, by golly, it didn't seem to do too badly. There is the shadow of that, and here's another shadow running from here across, and let me see, there's also a little place here, but you can't really see that. Now, the rest of this is somewhat green, not very green because this thing has been picked a while ago, but here is the general way that I would approach this stem here in the pumpkin, and then I'm going to add a little bit more of the orange. Here I'm going to put it on quite brightly because the light is hitting the top of the pumpkin, and I'm picking up a lot of pigment here for the top. As I say, if you are interested in what I'm doing and you want to talk about it, call me. It's 348-6800 or write. And if you want to know anything about purchasing any of these works that I do, just write to this station, and Judy will put you in touch with me either by mail or by phone, and that's the way I'm going to be able to handle the business of people wanting to buy my paintings. Or, better yet, come down to Front Royal, Virginia, visit the Skyline Drive, and come and see me in my gallery. Right in the main square of the town. I'm the only gallery in town. I have no competition, with the best of both worlds, and I'm there to see you whenever you decide that you want to take a little holiday from this beautiful Long Island and come down to Virginia. So that's an open invitation to this viewing audience of mine, and I sure hope you take me up on it. All right, we have introduced a rather brilliant orange tone here. And the paint is building up on the velvet, as you can see with these nice close-ups, that the velvet becomes very receptive to these tones, and you can, as soon as the paint dries somewhat, you can add another layer to get a little bit more brilliance to it. As I'm building up the tone, the color orange, it's because there is some paint that has gotten onto the pile of the velvet, and is now receiving another coat. That's how it's done. I think you can see that the color is now beginning to become a little bit more intense, and the black, of course, is the intensity of the shadows. Now, let me go on to the, let me squeeze some more white. The white comes in a tube in these acrylics. The other colors come in a jar. And they have to be closed immediately because acrylic paint is water soluble and dries very fast, and wasting the acrylic paint is a bad idea. This little tiny tube is $2 on sale. It's usually $4, and these jars are $2.75 a piece. So when you're working with these things, I always try to give you some idea of what the cost is going to be. It is only fair that you all know what the cost is going to be. I'm rinsing my brush in plain water, no turpentine here, because water-soluble paints obviously are not going to work in turpentine. Some pure red from the jar, mixed with some pure yellow from the jar, and mixed with the white, gives me the tone that I want to put on for the gourd here. The gourd is a rather nice and brilliant object. I'm going to run it across the pile. It is a different feeling than painting on canvas of any kind. It is a surface which is almost imperceptible. You almost can't feel it because it is so soft. And it also is quite resisting. But there is an instant ability to make a dramatic impact with this. And I think that working from life with these objects is probably a good idea. I do not believe that anybody ought to copy somebody else's work, and I certainly would not think that copying photographs is of any use either. But as soon as this paint now dries on here, I'm going to be able to go back and put the yellow stripes on it. The green has to be put in, more white, and some yellow and some blue. So all of this is quite, I mean, it's painting a picture, but it's an entirely different approach and a different technique. So anybody who has been wondering about it and wondering why I don't paint in acrylics, you're probably learning right now why I'm not willing to paint in acrylics, because it is so foreign and so different from what I do in oils on this program with other subject matters. But as I say, if you don't do it and find out about it, you have no business criticizing it. So I've been criticizing the velvet painting for a very long time, and here I am doing it to prove either one of two things. Either it's the pits, or you people are going to be able to find out how it's done and therefore get something out of it. I'm going to rinse again. And this brush is and I'm using, and here's another brush that I can use. It's got a sort of a rounded pattern to it, and that's the same rather rigid bristle that I told you about before. All right, you mix all the colors. You do not mix colors on the canvas the way I sometimes do with oils. You mix them right on the plate or on the mixing area. And you make sure that your color is mixed before you apply it. All right, here we have, and I'm using feather touch. It's an absolute feather touch. When I want to put a lot more pigment on it, I'm going to bear down and give it a lot more energy. But the velvet is extremely. It is a peculiar thing. It is receptive, but it is also resisting. If any of that makes any sense, the only way that I can advise you about this kind of an activity is to tell you to go out and get some velvet, pay the price, and try it if you like it. As I say, I'm doing this on a semi-Halloween adventure because I have somewhat of a surprise towards the end of the program. And it may be just amusing to me. Maybe it'll be amusing to you. As you can see, this little white object has got almost an instantaneous shaded quality to it by the fact that the velvet pile is so high that the paint does not penetrate to the bottom of the plush, which is what it is. But I am going to put a highlight here, and that means I've got to build up the color thick. And I suppose that is going to be obvious. So there's a rather strong highlight there. Now, with the white on my brush, I'm going to take the opportunity to mix some pale yellow to make the lines in the little curly gourd. Ah, good. There's a phone call. Hello there. Tell me who you are, please.
Hello, Pat. My
Yes.
name is Eileen.
Yes, Eileen.
Hi, I watch your show all the time. I absolutely love it. I think you're the best artist and the best teacher.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Now,
Pat, I have two questions.
Yeah.
Is it nylon or cotton velvet?
it's synthetic velvet.
Okay, synthetic. All right. Did you put any type of primer or anything?
Absolutely nothing. You can't. You are working on absolutely untouched material here.
Okay. All right. Super. Thank you. Could I ask one more question?
Yeah.
All right. Usually when you paint, you leave a margin around your canvas board, and you say you leave that open for matting.
Yeah.
Okay. If you have, like I have an existing wood frame, where would I find that molding to make that matting?
Oh, I would go to a frame shop and get them to make a mat for you.
Oh, I see. You couldn't just buy it somewhere and
No, don't attempt to do it. It's very complicated, and if it's not right, it'll look terrible.
No, I've made my own frames. That's
Oh.
not the problem. But
Oh.
I don't know where to get that type of molding.
It depends. A flat molding is the best thing. Go to a framing shop and ask for a flat molding. It's already got fabric on it.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, it's already got fabric on it. You can buy ready-made. It's called liners.
Uh-huh.
It's called a liner.
Okay.
So they might sell it to you. I'm not sure.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Eileen, do you like this velvet stuff?
It's very interesting.
You can say no. I don't mind.
The black is just perfect for Halloween. It just gives a special effect.
That's why I'm doing it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right. I'm glad you called. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I was going to say before she hung up, but she can hear it anyway. The velvet is available in any shop. It's the synthetic velvet. It is not cotton velvet. I think that cotton velvet would appeal to me more. And I certainly am not going to do this again. If I were to ever do this again, I would get an old velvet something or other, and I would cut it up, because this is $15 a yard. And that is an expensive, that's more expensive than canvas. But so I wanted to do it. I needed to show you how I went about this thing, and so it's worth doing it to show you. $15 a yard is expensive. I have about a half a yard on here, and that's really not too bad for a demonstration. But people are probably wondering where I got it. I got it at one of the fabric shops in Lake Grove on Middle Country Road. And I believe it's called the Fabric Barn or something. And good, another call. Hello there, tell me your name. Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
My name is Louise. Hi, Pat.
Yes, hi, Louise.
Hi. I don't have a question. I just wanted to say how much I enjoy you being on the air.
Thank you.
And you make it look so simple, and I know it isn't. And thank you so very much for that.
Well, thank you for
giving me some courage.
Oh, good. Yes. Well, we all need some of that once in a while.
Yeah, I need a lot.
What is your name again?
Louise.
Louise. Great. I'm so glad you called, Louise.
Thank you, dear.
Fine.
Thanks for everything.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So we have here, I've just mixed a dark color with blue and red. There is no need for shadows here. It's obviously that it is so dark that shadows are of no use. But the shadows that I want to make, such as a dark area on the curled side of this gourd, I'm going to put in here with a dark tone and see whether or not I can pull it off. As I say, it's an entirely different technique, and it requires a lot of figuring out to get away from my technique of painting in oils. I have been painting in oils for longer than most people have been alive, and therefore I have to rethink the whole process. But I wanted to take the opportunity to sort of play this game with you, and hopefully it's going to amuse you. Now, here I'm going to use the pure yellow from the jar with a touch of green in it, because this lovely leaf here is many colors. It's green in the middle, and then it sort of fans out and decides that it's going to be sort of orange. But an overall tone on this leaf is what I'm trying to show you. And the technique is that you don't press too hard. You kind of brush the top layer of a pile, and then you apply more color for highlights, and then you do less color for the darks. But this leaf has got color all over it, so I'm going to bear down just a little bit and show you how to try to see the pile has got a mind of its own. And so does canvas, of course, but this is even more so. And it's a little bit perplexing, actually. So now there's some red is taking place up here. And as the lady said very diplomatically, Louise said, it's interesting and it's perfect for Halloween. And that's why I chose it. Obviously, I'm not going to make my career selling paintings done on velvet, but I certainly am not going to discount the fact that I was willing to try, and I was willing to experiment with it, and to produce something that may or may not vindicate the velvet painters. I can tell you one thing, that you have to have the courage to suddenly sit down at a piece of velvet which could make a nice evening dress and start throwing paint all over it. That takes a certain amount of chutzpah, as you might say. So here's this leaf beginning to sort of take shape in front of your eyes and mine, and hopefully the interest is going to remain, so that you will be in and wait for my little surprise, which is going to take place a few moments before the end of the program. They'll get a signal that we have a few minutes left, and then that's when I'll spring it on you. I don't ever mean to be tricky with any of my shows. This one, however, is an exception because it's Halloween, or it's almost Halloween. I believe that it's only a few nights away. And I wanted you to see the more ridiculous side of my personality by doing this. Here is the part of the leaf that seems to be shining a great deal. It's lost a lot of color, but it's also bathed in light here. As I said to you about this painting behind me, I sat up on the Skyline Drive just last Saturday, and it was the most spectacular day. There is a new entrance to the Skyline Drive from the town of Front Royal, and I believe that they expected that 10,000 automobiles, which means that approximately 40,000 people, considering there's usually 4 people in a car, to go up to the Skyline Drive to see the leaves. It's called leaf peeking. That means that close to 40,000 people on Saturday and Sunday alone were up there to see what I have brought to you on this canvas just last weekend. It's over now. There is virtually no color left. It's all wonderful cinnamon tones, but there aren't the brilliant pinks and yellows and oranges that there were last Saturday. Absolutely remarkable. And next year, if you think that you can take the time, come on down and see the display that takes place in the Shenandoah National Forest, which is what that is. It's a minimal cost. It's $5 a car, and you can have as many people in the cars as it'll hold, and you can go, and it's 105 miles to Waynesboro, Virginia on the Skyline Drive, with many places to stop along the way for information. Some places have food, and some places just have these overlooks whereby you just stand and in wonder at what you see. We live in an absolutely remarkable country, and I don't think I have to tell anybody that, because everybody knows it. Oh, good. There's another call. Hello there. Tell me who you are, please.
Hello, Pat. My name is Mita.
Yes.
And I watch your show every week.
Good.
Even the reruns. But you took the words out of my mouth, because a little while ago I was going to say I admire you for your courage. And
thank you.
To satisfy some people wanting you to paint on velvet. And it's very dramatic looking. It looks almost luminescent on the screen.
That's the word.
Yes. And also, I do some painting, the type that you don't like, you know, the magic light and the magic light.
Oh, I'm such a pill. Okay.
But it's a beginner, and I will probably try to do the traditional. But when you paint, it's so relaxing looking. I mean, you just put it on, and like I sweat over it. Now, how do I get to come to after many years of painting?
Well, it comes after a lifetime and a life's work, but I can assure you something. And your name again?
Is Mita.
Nita. I can assure you, Nita, that although...
Mita. And like in Mary.
Huh?
Like, did you meet her?
Oh, yeah. Well, I tell you something. It doesn't show, but a good deal of the time when I'm doing this, I'm in a sweat.
Oh, it doesn't look at it. Oh.
I know, but that's because I'm such a fake, and I don't let it show. But when you paint, and it's not just because it's on the air. Every time I paint in my studio, I get very involved with it, and I get very excited and tense. So if I make it look easy, it's only because I'm fooling you.
I'm really very happy to hear that, because even when I paint at home by myself, I find myself getting frustrated and sweating and upset with it. So I'm glad to hear that. Even
that's all part of the torture that you have to endure if you want to be a painter.
Well, you certainly don't make it look like torture. It's certainly nice talking to you.
Nice of you to call. Thank you.
I look forward to your painting.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Well, good. Yes, I have to admit it, even though I'm supposed to be a very cool cucumber. I have to admit that there are times when I say to myself, I must be totally out of my head to attempt to do this in public, on the air, no mistakes made, and if I do have a mistake, to take the consequences and to explain myself. So I'm glad that she recognized my courage. Yes, another call. Okay, hello there. Tell me your name. Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
This is Doris.
Doris.
I'm thrilled with you. You say everything that I would like to say. You have the same ideas that I have. I'm absolutely thrilled with you.
Oh, thank you, Doris. What are you talking about specifically that I have said?
Well, I've been watching you for a little while, and when I first found you, I've tried so hard. I wish I had a whole program about every time you're on. I watch 57 all the time to try to get you.
Ah. Well,
I watch ball games I don't want to see.
I have a schedule, Doris. I'm on 8 p.m. on Tuesday, 11 p.m. on Thursday, and 9 p.m. on Friday, if that helps.
I caught you on Monday once.
Oh, good. You see, so I don't know anything either.
Yes, you were on for a whole hour on Monday.
Oh, well, now you see, so, I mean, they're even pulling fast ones on me. I have no idea.
So I watch a lot. Anyhow, when you came on and you said about the velvet.
Yes.
I never wanted to do velvet. I felt the same way you did.
Guess what? I don't want to do velvet again either.
Carnival stuff.
Yeah.
But I was always curious.
Ah.
And I'm very happy that you're telling me something about it.
Good.
You're so good and generous with your knowledge.
Well, thank you. You know, I mean, well, no point in my keeping it all to myself because I plan to shake off this mortal coil one of these days, and it ought to go to somebody else. And, you know, the velvet thing, the velvet syndrome has been going on for a long time. And
Absolutely.
I have been such a snob, and I've been so superior, and I've made such terrible...
Well, I don't think you are. I don't think I'm a snob, and I don't like it either.
Well, you know what? You know what it might be? It could be the subject matter that we don't like. It could be those...
I don't think so. They do portraits, and that's the most interesting thing that they do.
Wow.
I think it's really, you know, such a flashy kind of material.
Yeah, flashy and black and dull, so that's what makes it really mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Doris, you're our Doris.
Yes.
Yes. Well, anyway, I'm glad that you recognize the fact that I said I could see absolutely nothing in velvet painting, and here I am doing it just because I wanted to know.
And I appreciate that a great deal.
Thank you.
And I admire everything you do.
Oh, well, that's quite a statement.
And I hope to come and see you at your gallery at some time, too.
Please do. I'll be there looking for you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye, Pat.
Bye-bye. Bye. This is maybe the one way to get tremendous quantities of people into Front Royal, Virginia. Because 1 minute to break? Oh, he stuck a finger up in the air and it said 1 minute, and I thought maybe the hour had gone by already. Okay, so we have a minute to the break. When I come back, I'm going to probably do a little bit of demonstration on the extra piece of velvet that I have, and maybe show you with very tight close-ups what it means to apply this color, because I'm not sure that it's been clear, and if it's not clear, then the whole lesson has been pointless. I want to make it clear what you do, because in case somebody like Doris decides that they want to do it, they ought to have somewhere to go on this train before they embark on the voyage. So I like to be able to plan this kind of thing, in other words, to draw it out with my everything pencil, but I'll get to that when I come back. So I'll just take a very short break now, go get some tea or some Coke, and I'll be back in a short moment. Back again, And, you know, slowly coming towards the conclusion of this particular program, as I told you a little bit earlier, I'm here once a month live for you to call me and we'll talk about anything that you want, or whatever, whether it's what I'm doing or whether it's what you're involved with or anything at all, as long as it's got to do with painting. I think that I am not qualified to talk about Mr. Giuliani or Mr. Dinkins, but I certainly think I'm qualified to talk to you about painting, and that may come as something of a refreshing thing after the entire day has been spent talking about the mayoral thing in New York City. All right, another call. Hello there. Tell me your name. Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, hello, Pat?
Yes.
Oh, hi, I'm Ed.
Hello, Ed.
Listen, I heard you say before about using black as a shadow.
Yes.
I was always told that you should never use black as shadowing.
Well, yeah, I use black as a term for dark.
Oh,
I do not use black as shadows either, but I'm talking about the blackness of this velvet,
yes.
Whereby the shadows in this are already built in.
Would blue work out?
In shadows?
Yes, with
I think
the black?
it would be confusing.
Yeah, well, I mean, because everything is standing out with that velvet, and I thought maybe a blue would, you know, be able to show.
Oh, you mean like blue velvet?
Yes.
Ah, I thought about that today when I was buying this, wondering whether or not I had to go and buy a piece of blue velvet so that I could do shadows in dark blue or black. And then I decided that I was going to remain with the purest attitude towards painting on velvet and just get this black stuff. What do you think of it?
I think it looks terrific.
Really?
And I think I should wish you a happy Halloween.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm doing that for this reason here.
What is the white gourd? That's not an eggplant, a white eggplant, is it?
No, that's what I call a weird thing. I don't know what it is. It was in the a little market there in Setauket, the farm stand, and I don't know what it is.
I think it was a white eggplant, because eggplants do come in white.
I know, but it's too hard. The thing, it's actually, I think it's a stone with a stem on it. I'm sure glad you called.
Thank you for listening to me.
Well, I'm glad you picked up the phone call because you're the first.
Okay, thank you, and have a happy Halloween again.
You're the first man of the evening. Happy Halloween to you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yes, I was wondering whether or not there were any males out there at all, because all the calls have been from the female gender, which I'm perfectly happy with, but I think that it's always nice to be able to think that there is a homogeneous group out there. I'm fooling with this. I'm still playing because I am an irrepressible painter by trade. I find myself needing to keep doodling and fooling with things and applying more color and taking color away, and I don't know whether or not that is an acceptable thing to do with this technique of painting on velvet, but I am experimenting right in front of your eyes, which I think is probably, as that lady said earlier, that I have some courage, which may be also subtitled foolishness. But the only way you're going to find out about this kind of thing is to get there and to do it. And instead of wondering what it's like to paint on velvet, I thought to myself, this is now the time to do it. I'm going to, of course, give this painting to my son Adam, who has been asking me for a long time to show the public how to paint on velvet and make it look right. I'm not sure that this has succeeded, but it certainly is an interesting attempt, and I have used some of my favorite subjects, namely these remarkable fall colors that are around us and that maybe we take for granted sometimes at this time of year and don't really go out and study them. I did that when I did this painting that's behind me, and I find that when I was doing, and I'm going to refine that. That is still in a rough stage. I'm going to refine it and put some more mauve in the hills in the background. It was a little bit more misty than that. I got overwhelmed with the quality of the color and the luminescence of that scenery down there is, as I say, if anybody has any plans at all to go driving across this remarkable country of ours, head on down to Virginia and see what there is down there. Because if you live on a flat island, which Long Island is, you will find that when the land decides to become unflat, some remarkable things happen, and there is a beautiful pattern to those mountains out there. And of course, to me, they're interesting at all times of the year, even though when I come up to Long Island, I find myself saying this is a lovely place too. So don't think that I have defected and gone to the other side. I have simply learned and found out something more about this planet and the need to be very careful that we don't mess it up. And do call me if you want to. I'm sure that everybody knows the number by now, but if anybody has now just tuned in, it's 348-6800. There it is. Live Tuesday evening, October 26th. That's right now. And I'm going to be back here in November for the last Tuesday of November, and then that will be it until January, because Christmas is coming in between, and I have a gallery in Front Royal in which I must be in full attendance at Christmas time. So this is the night, or next month, to call me. You see, I'm now fooling around with details, which is what I usually do on my oil painting programs. I am concerned with detail, and I'm doing it here and finding out that in order to be able to do this, you have to wait for the paint to dry somewhat, so that the layering of the new color can be put on top of the dry paint. The composition was as simple as I could think of, especially that the subject matter had to have something related to the seasons. And I paint pumpkins on this thing almost every year at Halloween, and I have a rather nice collection, and I'll show them to you sometime. I dearly love my little pumpkin paintings. So I'm now going to go back over the little gourd here that's to my left, and apply some more color because it is much more brilliant. And as you can see, the paint has now dried and will accept another layer. The fact that I am finding out about this right in front of you is significant, because I can tell you the pitfalls while you sit very comfortably in your living room and watch me experiment and stab around in the dark. Okay, I have another call. Hello there, tell me your name.
Hello, Pat, this is Mildred.
Yes, Mildred.
I have an interesting little bit to tell you.
Oh, good.
I'm 89 years old.
Congratulations.
And you helped me learn how to do landscape painting in the last 6 months.
That's lovely. That's wonderful.
You don't know how fantastic it is for me. It may seem marvelous to people, but I was in the dumps after an operation, and I had to do something, and I had been an art teacher, and I thought, well, now, what I taught was basic art, and I didn't know how to do landscapes, so I just sat every day and watched you.
Oh, how wonderful.
I do it in acrylics.
Yes. Okay.
And I've been having loads of fun, and really, to learn how to paint in depth, that was my problem.
Yes.
Yes.
And you got something from me?
I certainly did.
Wow.
More than something.
Oh, that's remarkable.
Great deal.
Well,
I want to thank you very much.
Well, I can't be more delighted. I wish I had words to tell you how really exciting that is to hear.
Well, it's exciting for me, believe me, and my whole family is excited.
Well, now that you've told me all of that, may I ask you a question?
Yes.
When are you going to hit the 90?
Oh, let's see. I'll be 90 next September.
That's amazing. Congratulations. What day in September?
The 5th.
Well, my birthday is the 12th.
How about that? We have something in common.
Yes, we certainly do. Same
Born
sign.
under the same sign. And probably not, though, talking age-wise.
Not yet, but I plan to get there.
Good. Well, enjoy.
Thank you for calling.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that fabulous? I can't tell you. Well, you begin to wonder, is there anybody out there watching? And then you hear from somebody like that, and you realize that actually it is all worth the effort. I do drive a long way to come here and do this. I drive 380 miles to come here from my door. From my studio door to this studio door is 380 miles, and then I drive 380 miles back. But calls like that make me say, well, they're worth every single inch of the way. You may find that there are some things that I may be fussing over this, but that's the way it is. If I don't fuss, I don't feel that I'm painting. And I like to get as much detail as I can, because that's what I've been telling you for all this time. I'm a recorder. And I'm recording as much as I possibly can in this very peculiar and maybe questionable technique of using velvet. But this is the one shot. I'm not going to do this again. So you better, whatever questions you have, this is the night. This is the Halloween night to do it. And the Halloween picture that you see behind me here is what I did last year with that mask that was carved, in some exotic place. I've quite forgotten. I think it's China, and I bought that mask and brought it in and did a painting of it last year. And this is something of a different approach. All right, my little what that man thought might have been a white eggplant is going to get another layer of white on it because it does not have the brilliance that I would like it to have. So here we go. I'm using a somewhat stiffer brush, but I want to apply a little bit more tone to it because it is, in fact, got a lot more light to it. Whoops! And when it goes on too thick, apparently you can blend it with your finger if you get a blob. So let me blend that again and see. They didn't tell me this when I thought of asking some other people that I've seen do this velvet thing that your fingers were as available as the brush, but they are. And I must admit that there is a certain brilliance to this, especially with a reflected shadow such as that is. That is what you call in painting a reflected highlight, rather. I don't know how I'm going to sign this because I don't think I can get any detail or any very fine lines, but I do see that I need to do some work up here on this vine. Another call? Okay. Hello there. Tell me who you are. Hello?
It's Ruby?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
I just found out that you were in Front Royal.
Yes.
And I was down there on the Columbus Day weekend.
Were you?
And I didn't know you were there.
Oh, pooh.
And you remember the little parade they had in the town?
I sure do. I was right there. I'm right there where the parade takes place.
Are you really?
Yes, my gallery is right there on the main square.
Oh, and I just found out tonight I'm sitting here watching you. And I said, oh, well, I'm going to come back again.
Well, you'd better.
We were down there to see the mountains and everything. And
yeah.
Went to the Luray Caverns.
Yes. Is that remarkable or what?
Oh, so the mountains are beautiful, you know. But when you just said you were there, I thought, oh, my goodness, and I missed her. And you were right there by the parade.
I was right there. I was probably standing next to you watching because I left the door to my gallery open while I watched the parade.
What is the name of your gallery?
Windrow Galleries.
Of
course.
Well, I'm just going to go down there again.
Well, of course you are.
And I enjoy your TV show. I watch it all the time.
Thank you very much for calling. I'm glad you did. And I'm sorry I missed you, but I'm glad you called.
Well, I'm glad I know where you are now because I'm going to come down again.
Oh, it's no secret. I've been telling everybody to come on down, and I'm probably going to increase the population of that town like it couldn't imagine.
So I know it's 380 miles.
You bet it is.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. All right, so we're getting a little bit of somewhere. There's a highlight on that pumpkin, and I think I'm going to pop that in here right now. It is on the shoulder of the pumpkin, and it also is, the veins are showing through it, so you have to avoid the vein. That's what I was saying before. You have to do a certain amount of planning when you do this. We have all learned together. Well, because it's Halloween, I think that I'm going to probably show you, I've been talking about a surprise. Well, it's a silly thing, surprise. I'll take a call first and then we'll do the surprise. Hello there. Tell me who you are, please.
Hello, Pat.
Yes.
My name is Carol.
Yes, good.
And I've probably got a question that you answered in the first 15 minutes of your show.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I work till 8 o'clock and come scooting home to see you.
Go ahead.
When you're working with the oil paints on the fabric,
yeah.
Do you use the paint straight from the tube or do you use a medium to keep it from bleeding?
I'm not using oil paints here at all.
That's what I missed then.
Yes, you missed it. I'm using acrylics for the first time, and I'm the one that have been snobbish about acrylics and said don't use them, and I hate them and everything. Well, I'm using them because that's what you use on the velvet. The oil doesn't work on velvet.
Oh, thank you so much, and I'm sorry I asked something that you told in the first 15 minutes.
I didn't. I mean, it's perfectly fine. I mean, all these questions just add up to wonderful questions from people and the answers.
Well, I want to tell you how much pleasure you've given me. I've waited a long time to be able to get your show on TV.
Oh, good. So you didn't have cable all this time?
I had cable, but we didn't have Long Island 1.
Ah.
So the best I could get were the 4-inch paintbrushes on the...
Yes.
But...
Where are you speaking from?
I'm talking from Lindenhurst.
Oh, good. Okay.
And I want to thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for calling me.
And all you've given me.
Thanks for calling me.
You have a nice Halloween.
You bet.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That was a very beautifully controlled and cultured voice, I think. I love voices because I always try to match them up with person that has the voice, and then of course most of the time I'm wrong. But that was a beautifully cultured, controlled voice, and I appreciate that call. I'm putting a little bit more color in here because I see it in front of me, and I think also because it calls for it. This drops into shadow down here, but this is quite brilliant up above. Okay, let me pull my little showbiz gag on you that I told you I was going to have. It's all got to do with Halloween, and it's got to do with the humor that I like to interject here. And I've got to get something in order to pull this off, and I believe it's here. Is this it? Okay. Now I have behind me here, and you can watch this because it's live TV. I'm gonna. If it works, it'll be good, and if it doesn't work, well, I'll just prove to you that sometimes things don't work. Okay. Now, are you able to see what I'm doing? Yes. I am doing a Halloween study by spraying. I'll show it to you in a minute. The whole studio is going to be asphyxiated with this because you must never use these sprays indoors, except that's what I'm doing tonight. And here is my little Halloween joke, and I hope that it works. The last thing that I have to do is to take some of my dark color, which is the red and the blue mixed, and I'm going to give my little creature, I'll show it to you in just a second. Here, I think this is probably going to be dark enough to show you. 5 minutes, okay. Maybe I can do something here. I hope this is not too subtle. But if it is too subtle, then I'll know better the next time. But here is my little Halloween joke. I cut this little form out, as you can see. This is my little form, my little ghostly form, and I sprayed my little ghostly figure on it. And I hope that that is of interest and also slightly amusing. Let me sign this. After all this to do, I want to sign it and see whether or not I can make it work. I probably have to reduce the paint to a very ink-like consistency, and because this is a very perverse type of painting, I'm going to sign it down here on the side. It might work. Okay. Oh, see, never say die. Here is the culmination of my one and only venture into velvet painting, and the end of it by signing this. And in so doing, I admit that I did this. My days of the snobbishness of painting on velvet are not over. I shall always feel that it is a lesser technique, but at least I was able to experiment with it in front of you. Let me get this, and you know this acrylic dries so fast that I can put this directly in front. I'll remove it again so you can get one final look at it. But just let me, for seriousness, show you how to lay out this particular composition with relating objects. To find the spot in which it is, you start with a nice free circle. Always work under life size. If you work over life size, you will not have room to get to all the objects in. And then when you place them, if this little gourd turns the corner, just show it turning the corner like that. Then you fill in the form that it is. But give it its backbone. This is what I mean by its backbone. Also, give this little object up here its place in which to place the stem. The understanding is that, of course, these lines radiate from the center and behave very much like little spines themselves. Oh, geez, that's too dark. Sometimes they're barely visible. This one happens to be a very smooth one. There are 2 minutes, but I just show you how rapidly you can probably wind up drawing these things. A lot of people are intimidated by the drawing of these things, and the placement of them is important. The stem is leaning up against this part of the pumpkin, and the little so-called white eggplant occupies this much space, and then the spine of the leaf is going to go this way, and then the leaf itself, and then the little one that comes forward. So all of these things are just a very quick lesson to show you, don't be afraid and don't be intimidated by the business of needing to draw things. the drawing is vital. The other programs that I have such a problem with is that they do not tell you that you must draw. And drawing is a plan. That's what there seems to be missing. And if you don't have a plan, I don't think you can do anything without a plan. Not paint a picture or go on a trip or prepare a meal. You have to have a plan. And my plan is called composition. That's what I like to be able to turn over to you as a piece of information. And the lady who has been painting since she started at 89 has found that this has been extremely helpful to her. Well, let me just, and here are these wonderful things that just sort of play around up here. These are the things that interest me, and they have a lovely flowing pattern to them. So look for these things when you're out and around looking for subject matter. That was just a sort of an extra little something that I wanted to put in as this program comes to an end. Here is my ghostly Halloween picture. I don't know, which one do you like best? Do you like the horror mask, or do you like the painting with the ghost? I think I like the ghost painting. This is okay, but that was last year. Onward and upward, always forward. Do it. Just go ahead. Just go ahead. Sink the money and buy the velvet, or cut up that old dress that looks horrible on you anyway, and get a piece and stretch it on something and paint something. What can you lose? It was nice to have you watch me. I'm sure that if I knew you were all out there watching me as much as you are, I'd be as happy as a clam, and I am anyway. Thank you once again. Have a nice Halloween. Pat Windrow at the Cable Easel signing off until next month. Bye-bye.